Can proprioception be retrained? What is proprioception? Proprioception is the awareness of where your body is in space. It's also the awareness of where your limbs are in space. When people talk about proprioception and whether or not you have it or don't have it, what they're talking about is when you can't see your arms and legs, when you're not looking at them, are you aware of where they are in space? Certain problems like strokes, brain injuries, anything that damages the brain can actually affect our sense of proprioception. And what this does is it makes balancing and coordinated movement very difficult. A lot of diseases cause this, such as Parkinson's disease. With Parkinson's, the primary problem is a lack of awareness of where you are in space, and as a result, the person isn't able to have coordinated movement as well as someone who has good proprioception. So the question is, can proprioception be regained if it's lost? A lot of therapists, doctors, researchers have asked that question. It's generally thought that once you lose proprioception, you can't regain it. But recent studies have shown that it is possible to relearn proprioception. An article that was published in the journal called The Frontiers for Human Neuroscience was a meta-analysis that looked at 51 different studies. These 51 studies had a total of about 1,800 subjects. And they looked at a bunch of different interventions to see if it would improve proprioception or have no difference. And what the researchers found was that, in fact, it is possible to regain proprioception. They found that overall, the studies showed a 20% improvement in proprioception with different types of interventions. The ones that were most effective that the study looked at were ones that required the subject, the client, to repeatedly do an action, a movement with their body, whether it was trying to touch a target or kick something or do some type of action, and then either have an auditory signal to tell them if they were right or not, or some type of visual signal to tell them if they had in fact accomplished the task. And what they found was that doing those types of things, those repetitive exercises, actually does improve proprioception. They went further to show that there's actually a difference after proprioceptive training and how the brain works. There's a part of the brain called the sensory motor cortex. And what they found is that before any type of proprioceptive training, this cortex wasn't as active in people that have proprioceptive loss, which means that part of the damage from their injury was actually affecting this part of the brain. So that part of the brain wouldn't be as active when they were trying to figure out where they were in space. And they found that after proprioceptive training, this sensory motor cortex, the SMC, was actually more active. So what their research shows is that if you train proprioception, your brain actually has a response and changes how it's organized when you're doing certain tasks. Now, this is very important because people with Parkinson's and strokes, we know that their sensory motor cortex isn't as active when they're trying to move. So this means that training that specifically targets proprioception can improve the way the brain works, and that in turn improves proprioception. So what this article shows is that, in fact, proprioception can be retrained, it can be regained. And I think that's very important from people that are suffering any type of proprioceptive loss.